Hello, hope all is well. If you're having a good day so far, and today will even get better as time goes on. The third principle of the 13 principles of faith from Maimonides is a little more difficult, a little more complicated. Here we go. The belief in God's non-corporeality, nor that he will be affected by any physical occurrences, such as movement or rest or dwelling. So that's a mouthful. What exactly does that mean? Of course, we don't believe that God is contained, so to say, in anything physical. There used to be idol worship. People would think that something was actually a god itself. They would make a god out of a tree or out of a rock. There were many different types of beliefs of how God presented himself in this world. Judaism believes that God is one, that God is in everything, that God is creating everything, that nothing exists without God, that there is nothing in truth, in real existence besides God. But that doesn't mean that the physical thing is God. There's a big difference. In other words, we can't say that this table, for instance, is God, God forbid. It's a creation of God. Or in more Hasidic Kabbalistic terms, it's an emanation from God. Its total being and essence is dependent on God constantly flowing his creative love and energy into this table to bring it into being and make it what it is. But it's not God. It might be godly in the sense that everything in God's creation is really, in essence, God, in the sense that it's godly. As the Torah itself says, Ein od milevado. There's nothing really that truly exists besides God. So that when Judaism looks at the question of what is a bridge between infinite and finite, it says very simple, that finite just means a different level of infinity, where the infinite nature of the physical, or the infinite nature of God, is hidden in the physical. And these are the two names of God that we have from the very beginning of creation. Adoshem, the Yud-K and the Vav-K, and then Elohim, which represent the creative aspect of God, the aspect of God which is flowing that energy into the world to bring it into being, infinite amount of kindness and energy and love and creative force, creative wattage to be able to bring the world into its existence. And Elohim, so to say, holds back that flow, because it would be too much. You could kill with kindness also. But the world has to have a vessel. And in order for the vessel to be able to hold that godly flow, especially for that vessel to be so strong in the sense that it's able to hide the source of that flow, that takes the name of God, Elohim, or the force of God, that's Tzimtzum, contraction. So when we talk about this non-corporeality, the question is often asked, well, if I'm moving my hand right now and God is part of that, so how could it be that God's not being affected or God's not changing? Or for that matter, any change that's taking place in our lives, in our minds, in our thought processes, in our speech, in our actions, at first glance, everything is affected or affecting God. Because if it's all godly and it's all a creation of God, so God by definition necessarily has to be changed by it. But I want to try to throw out an idea which I thought about recently. I'm testing it on you. So you'll let me know what you think. And your comments are more than welcome, because it's a little far out, so to say, out of the box for sure. There's a statement in Nach that says, Ani Hashem lo shanisi. I, God, have not changed, do not change, will not change. God doesn't change. So all the changes in the world that take place don't change God. And again, how could that be? If we're a godly creation, then it must be that God is somehow affected by all this. But the third principle of faith says no. So how do we understand that? Let's say you go into a movie theater and the movie camera is of course projecting onto a movie screen. In reality, you're sitting there and you're watching this film, you're getting all emotionally involved with it, it's totally absorbing your attention. And if it's a good film, you really feel like you're part of it, and you feel like you're right there with all the actors and the players. And in reality, though, as things are changing on the screen left and right, and all types of action films, you can't imagine how quickly everything's changing. What is it really? It's really light which is going on to a screen. Now, that light on the screen is just light that's being projected from the projector. If there was no screen there, it would just keep on going, and it would have no place to really stop to, so to say, create the vessel that you're going to watch with that film. Because you could sit there in the theater and if there's no screen, it's better going to shelf it. It's not going to help at all to sit there because you're not going to see anything. So you're sitting there watching this movie, and it's real, but in reality, not only it's not three-dimensional, not only it's not two-dimensional, it's not even one-dimensional. All it is light on the screen. And if you would be right by the screen or looking from the left or right side at the screen, there's nothing, no change that's taking place on the screen. The screen is still the exact same screen, only that we're able to see the movie on the screen. Now, it could be eventually. I would guess that they're probably even working on it now with holographs and all types of other scientific advancements that we're making. I would guess that give it another 10, 20 years, when that projector is created, just like they have now IMAX, but take it to the next step, or even 2 or 3 steps after that, you're going to have holograms on the stage. You're not even going to have a screen. You'll have holograms on a stage, a large stage, where you'll be actually seeing everything taking place, almost like you could walk through it yourself and be part of the scenery that's there. But let's say, theoretically, that would be the case. Is it still now three-dimensional? No. Is it two-dimensional? No. It's not even one-dimensional. It's just light. So if you look at the world as God created this physical world, and it's physical, it's finite, it's very defined. So when I go like this, I'm changing the flow of energy that's happening from the Creator. Or if you look at it, that God is, so to say, the projector. And all of this is energy. It's all godly energy. It's all energy that's put into various vessels and various forms, and some of the energy looks like a plant or a vase or a table or a chair, a picture. But those are all, so to say, vessels for that godly light. But it's not changing God in any way. It's not changing the projector. It's not even changing the light. It's containing the light so it has a form to be able to be productive. Just like the screen, so to say, provides that vessel for the projection of that movie to be able to get into your heart and be able to be understood, where you're going to feel what's going on. So when we say that there's no corporeality in God, we mean it. We mean that God really is not this physical entity, and that physical itself is not really in this impenetrable physicality which we give it credit to be. As I mentioned yesterday, that really it's a bunch of space. It's a bunch of molecules and electrons and all types of other scientific terms which I can't even begin to imagine, which are really all orchestrated, put together by this infinite godly force. Through this infinite godly creative love that God is flowing into this world to bring it into being. And this chayas eliki, this godly life which is coming into this world, is like the light of the projector. And it's going to go through a lot of different situations. And the physical world changes a lot, but it doesn't mean that God is affected at all in any way by the changes that take place in the physical world. So God is God, God is pure, God is light, God is infinite, God is not corporal. God is not limited to the corporate world, the physical world, or affected by the changes that take place in the physical world. But God is infinite in a way that it's very hard for the human mind to even imagine. That's why it's so important to try to understand and learn Chassidut and Kabbalah a little bit, because it opens up a little bit of a window to be able to understand some of these ideas and how they can be integrated into our mind. That's what Chabad really means, Chachma Bina Das, to try to take spirituality and godliness and bring it down into the human intellect in a way that we can grasp it. So I hope you understand a little bit more about how that all works. If not, you're welcome to comment, ask questions either on the Facebook or on my email, rabbi@chabadli.org. And tomorrow, God willing, tomorrow is Friday. I'm not going to do Friday. I'm going to do Monday through Thursday. So hopefully on Monday, we're going to continue with the fourth of the 13 principles of faith. And this one is the belief in God's eternity. Sounds good. Take care of yourself. Have a good Shabbos.